We went out, we went to strip clubs. I remember we would bring home girls together, and it was fun to me. I was never jealous.
Hi, I'm Nicoletta Heidegger, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and sexologist.
Hi, I'm Kiki Klout, and I'm a porn star. And I've been in the industry for 6 years.
Yay, hi Kiki.
Hi.
So glad to have you here chatting with us.
Thank you for having me.
So we're going to provide some helpful tips, education around some fun topics, and today we're going to talk a little bit about dating and men outside the industry.
Yeah,
Is that right?
I'm definitely interested to talk about men outside of the industry.
Tell me, if you're willing, like what's been your experience?
The 2 times that I've tried to get to know somebody outside of the industry, or actually got past the casual dating into actually dating somebody.
Yeah.
It was at first it was like, yeah, cool, I'm dating a porn star. Like they'd always like brag to their friends. As a porn star, that kind of feels good. That feels good that people, like somebody who's like dating you is treating you as a trophy. But after a while, I feel like there definitely becomes jealousy. Maybe I felt like I was looking in the wrong places because I've always been like, well, I don't want to date anybody in the industry because I didn't want people to know my life and my personal secrets and just things I just didn't want to float around in a place of work.
Yeah, but that's hard too because then the folks in the industry might be the people who understand your job.
Yeah, so I've been scared of that because I've also seen people who've dated in the industry where the relationships maybe haven't went as well and it's been toxic. So
you're like, where do I look?
Where do I look? Where do I establish myself when it comes to my love life? Because everybody needs love. Like just because I'm in front of a camera and I'm painting a picture for myself online doesn't mean that I'm still human and I have feelings and I have a personality.
Yeah.
And that I'm not just don't get me wrong, yeah, I'm a sex object to some people, but I'm a person at the end of the day and I have feelings and I want to be loved and I want to get to know somebody as well. But when I've tried, it's just been toxic.
Yeah. Oh, so there's been people who like at the beginning, they liked what you were doing and then
Yeah.
after a while they were like uncomfortable with you, having sex for work.
Yep.
When in the relationship does it usually like show up? So at the beginning, they're like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm,
I'd
dating someone
say-
who's in this industry. You're feeling good. And then what happens?
I'd say the first 2 months are great.
Yeah.
You're in the fairy tale,
honeymoon,
the
yeah.
honeymoon phase. Everybody's
Yeah.
like that. And you know what? I enjoyed it. With every single person that I've had that relationship with while I'm in the industry, I've enjoyed that phase.
Yeah.
I won't take that back. But the times I can say I wish I could take back were all the turmoil, all the headaches,
Yeah.
all the suffering I dealt with my feelings. Like
Yeah.
it felt like a little unfair to me.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I think about like relationships and learning from them and trying to like pick differently, I always think it's a balance because I don't want to say like, well, it's all on you when what you're picking and it's not all on other people. But I always feel like it's important to like name different responsibilities. So for example, on the side of like the men you're talking about, we're talking about like a society that has this like Madonna complex, right? Where it's like you can either be a partner, a wife, whatever, or like the person that is like the sexual object. And that's just a messed up piece of our culture that ideally folks like you and I are trying to break down that stigma, right?
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of that we're dealing with that is like not our fault, right? The patriarchy and all these things that are affecting us in this like shamey negative way.
Yeah.
And considering all that, what do you feel like is on your side of things that you're like, okay, I'm looking at all these relationships and like here's a common theme that like maybe I gotta look at?
First, I was thinking, well, maybe if I just date somebody and I don't tell them what I do for work, maybe if I just tell them I'm a makeup artist, they'll know, because I like makeup anyways.
That's the hiding's such a big part of your life, huh?
I know.
Yeah.
I know, I've considered it. I've considered hiding my life. I've considered lying about being a flight attendant because I fly all the time.
But I hear that's coming from a place of like, I really deeply want to connect with people.
Yeah.
And like, how do I find my people?
Yeah, how do I find my people? How do I find the right person? How do I find somebody who's going to love me for the person that I am?
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you what kind of relationship to be in, but have you ever dated someone who was non-monogamous?
That's what I want. I want non-monogamy. And you know...
And the people that you picked, were they already people who were explored and practiced in non-monogamy?
So the first one,
Because the folks you're talking about, I'm hearing a little bit more of like an ownership-y thing.
yeah.
And I know that a little bit of jealousy can feel sexy for people at the beginning where it's like, oh, you're mine, you're mine. But after some time, that
It gets
often
old.
looks like control
Yeah.
and not love. So
Yeah.
I'm imagining you with somebody who's already experienced in non-monogamy, who's like supportive of multitudes and like all that you are, and also like has some experience with how to deal with feelings of jealousy that pop up and all of that.
You know, the first time I didn't really establish that, but I think it was because I was young and I was new in the industry.
Yeah.
So I was tiptoeing around things. I wasn't fully honest. And I feel like if you're trying to have something
Yeah.
successful with somebody, you have to be 100. You have to be honest because then they're not going to trust you.
Well, but look, I can understand why you weren't, because you're saying, hey, I've had some negative experiences where I was honest and people couldn't handle that, couldn't take that. So it sounds like it was hard to be open.
Yeah, it was really hard.
Yeah.
And when somebody's verbally abusive to you,
Yeah,
then
that's
you,
a whole other thing.
it shuts you out completely.
Yeah.
But the second time, in the honeymoon phase, like I just remember, like I was open. I was like, I don't care. Like I'm actually into you being with other women, and that's when I kind of started realizing, like I think I like that. And the first relationship, I don't think I really understood yet. I was so
Yeah.
young and I was so new to everything.
Yeah.
But the second time around, I waited a few years to kind of get back into something, and then we went out, we went to strip clubs. I remember we would bring home girls together, and it was fun to me. I was never jealous. I was never, nothing like that. But just it was just, he started getting toxic. So I was just like, ooh,
Yeah.
this is not easy. And I actually took a step back for a couple weeks, and I picked up a online platform of making money to kind of take a break from the porn industry to see how that would go.
Yeah.
Because I had history shooting online videos, it was always still a problem. That will forever be my history. That's part of me. That's never going to change.
Yeah. Well, that's why I have a podcast called Sluts and Scholars, and that's why I created it, for this dichotomy of like, we can be sexual, erotic beings, but also be all these other things. And like, why should that hold us back? But in this culture, it still does.
I guess I just haven't met the right person yet. It takes a really strong, secure person to understand what I'm doing for a living is what
Yeah.
I'm doing, because at the end of the day, I'm not going home
Yeah.
with the male talent. I go home to my bed with my pet cat and I watch TV.
Yeah. I really like this book by a therapist named Stan Tatkin, and he has a book called Wired for Love.
Okay.
And it's all about like neurobiology, psychology, like all this stuff to kind of like look at like how are you approaching things and how to kind of heal from within to feel like you are ready to kind of call in a partner. And not just ready, like I think a lot of us feel ready, but to like heal any of the attachment stuff, other things going on to like really help you find the person whose values matches what you want.
1000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take that advice, honestly, because I've always been
yeah.
interested in that.
I know for me, I mean, this might not be true for you, but I know for me what was really helpful was like doing therapy and healing from past stuff in my life before dating, with family, with other folks, because that was affecting who I was choosing. Because if we have sort of unfinished business with important people in our life,
Yeah.
if we're not working on that, our body has a tendency to want to have these like corrective experiences. So we keep choosing the same person and hoping for a different result because we're like, I want to make it different this time. I want to make it different this time. But then we just end up repeating this sort of trauma relational pattern.
Yeah.
And so what's been really helpful for me is to like address any of that underlying stuff so that I can be open to somebody different.
It's crazy you hit that on the head, because I kind of feel like that's also stemmed from my past and how I grew up.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I kept choosing the same type of characteristical
That's why I
person.
did, I know.
Yeah, yeah. Now that I think about it, wow, yeah, that's crazy. That's really crazy. That makes sense.
Yeah. If you're listening and you're struggling with any of this, reach out to a therapist. Find somebody to help support you in this. And Kiki, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. See you next time.